The Beauty of Not Knowing is the title of your new solo exhibition in New York. Why did you choose this title?
Inherent in my work, this notion of the beauty of not knowing is, how can I see around the corner? What can I do to uncover a new visual paradigm? And only acting through conscious choice, to me, leads to a conscious outcome. So you almost need to go Jean Moreau in automatism, which is to close your eyes and let your hand go free. I'm not quite at closing my eyes, but this notion of allowing the painting to compose itself. You know, as Pat Steer so famously said, I let the paint make the painting. And there's a lot of that in my work and in my practice.
What is the conceptual basis behind this body of work?
It's three things. It's light, material, and perception. I'm speaking to this idea of how light dances off of the surface. The physical construct of the material of the painting is what creates the dance of that light. Perception is the processing of color, line, and form to move consciousness.
In The Beauty of Not Knowing, how do you balance control and unpredictability?
I don't know exactly what I'm going to see as I'm moving a squeegee, for instance, on the painting behind me, that's 7.5 feet wide across the surface. I have an idea of what I might see, but ultimately what occurs is the physics of that moment. For instance, the last pass in this painting went left to right, and it was literally a dance with the squeegee of touching the surface, bringing it away from the surface. And I sort of think, before I do that final pass in a painting like this, I'm gonna let God be in charge of this. I'm gonna surrender.
Does the grid of the seal screen function more as a constraint or as a kind of invisible collaborator?
It functions as both. It functions as a constraint because it's physically holding the paint, but it's a collaborator in its inherent quality of being a screen, like a silk scarf. So there's a sheen that comes off of, even when there's paint on the screen, there's a sheen that comes off of the screen that's unique to this particular weave of fabric.
After Inhaling Richter and the Luminor series, how did The Beauty of Not Knowing come to exist?
So this series started in 2024, where I decided to paint over some chrome paintings that I had made in 2019. I very quickly found out, trying to use acrylic over chrome, it didn't stick. So I was forced to have to use oil paint. And besides a 2-week stint in college with oil paint, I've never painted with it. It's luscious, it's delicious, it's messy as all hell. But there's characteristics to it that you don't have with acrylic paint. So I very quickly kind of fell in love with that medium. And from just painting over chrome paintings in this style, I then thought, why not paint over just regular silkscreen paintings? And again, to me, I was interested in reinventing my own language. The languages I had explored in Inhaling Richter and in Luminor, I felt as though I really had a chance with oil to move and take this somewhere else.
Beyond Richter, artists like Joan Miro and Jackson Pollock seem to echo in your work. Can you tell me more about your inspirations?
Pollock, early on, was a major influence, in really standing in front of his 131 at MoMA was life-changing for me at 21 years of age. Rothko and his work, and the way that you just can enter a painting in stillness. I first encountered Richter at the Chicago Museum of Contemporary Art, and it was a survey of his work that was somewhere in the early 90s. That was mind-blowing. That planted a seed that didn't germinate until Jerry Saltz and How to Fake a Richter. You know, from elements of George Condo to Pat Steer. You know, the list is so long, as well as nature. You know, as Picasso so famously said, good artists copy, great artists steal. I am stealing from everywhere, reconstituting it through my head, and this is what you see.
How do you know when a piece is finished?
When a painting sings, there's literally like a it just presents itself. It simply is. Those are the easy ones. The challenge is when I stand back and with parts of it, I'm like, yeah, and there's elements that I'm like, The beauty within this work is with oil paint, I have time. So I can step away from a painting for hours or overnight and go back to it. And I've never had that luxury with work like this with Inhaling Richter or Luminor, because those paintings were acrylic and I had 15, 20 minutes to make a decision if I was going to go on or not, and that was that. The beauty of having time has been amazing.
Do you think abstraction today still has the capacity to access the transcendent? Or has that idea shifted in a contemporary context?
Since I began painting and since I first walked into the Museum of Modern Art, I have an unwavering belief in the simple notion that color, line, and form can change consciousness, can change how one thinks, feels. It's to say, just because you've seen half a dozen glorious sunsets in your life, would the experience of another be meaningless? Absolutely not. I believe that abstraction has the ability to move consciousness.